At this time, I'd like to open the meeting of the Carver Conservation Commission for, it's not May 20th. Is it
June 3rd.
June 3rd? Okay. Looking at the minutes, that's why it's not that. For June 3rd, 2020. Our order of business is action, discussion, and possible votes. We had a look at a potential violation at 366 Tremont Street. Did not find a problem there.
Right, existing road.
Yeah.
You didn't see any issues, did you, Deb?
No, I didn't see anything there. I checked
Yeah.
on Google Earth, and it seems to have been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that was one, Dan, the surveyor had said that they had gone through the wetlands.
Right.
The log, but when we went out, they'd gone on an existing road to get to a piece of upland in the back that they're gonna develop eventually.
No, I walked part of it.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll just have to tell Arthur. So 20 Gate Street, what, we can do it sometime Monday? Maybe?
Monday. Sure, why not?
What's Monday, the date?
8th?
I should be good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I could talk to,
Any objections to Monday the 8th?
No.
all right, want to say, I know he said it would have to be mid, so want to say like 11?
I was going to ask if it could be a little, yeah. That'd be
Is that
great.
good?
Yep.
Okay, is that better? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and that's just to look at, he wanted to see if that, we thought that was an agricultural exemption thing, because he wants to pave the road. So some of the work he's doing is he's replacing a culvert, which would be agricultural, but the paving is a little, and you want some more details on the type of
Bulk of
paving.
my days.
And also, he's got that large area where he has trucks
Bulk of my
parked.
days, usually 5 to 10.
Which I think he is going to want to do. I mean, the one that we're supposed to be looking at is only the road going in.
There it is.
But I think eventually he is going to want to do that parking area, so. you
That's
would
the
want
old,
that. I don't think you'd want the whole thing, that whole thing.
that's the old railroad right-of-way.
Oh, it is?
The old colony line
Oh.
went from Middleborough to Plymouth.
Oh, really?
Yep.
At a station in North Carver.
Yep. Actually, the house right on High Street is built up around the freight station. So there are original parts of the freight station still there.
Huh.
The first house on the right as you make the turn on the High Street, it's sort of down in a gully.
Oh, okay, yeah. Huh.
And there was another station between here and Plymouth called Derby.
Derby Street, okay. That's right, that's
Derby Station.
side street about 2 streets in the building.
Yeah.
Okay, so, having no other things tying us up,
Yeah, anything else you want to talk about?
it's not,
Not really.
and it says 7:30, so I guess we have to wait.
Oh, okay.
Might as well do the minutes.
Do the minutes?
We can do the minute. Should we add under business in our discussion of the Conservation Land Acquisition Fund that we ended up saying not to do anything?
Probably could, because that was the conclusion, basically,
Yeah, the
right?
conclusion was to leave the language intact the way it is right now in the
So-
bylaws.
So we said, so it feels it should be left alone to grow and grow fields in town, so.
Right, that was Alan saying that it should be, but we all
Oh, but
agree.
all agreed? Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, maybe add a line that just says the entire board is in agreement that we just leave that fund alone to grow and grow. And I do have an update. This is, to the best of my knowledge now, this is going to wind up in front of town meeting to see if they want to, town meeting wants to accept using that money into the stabilization fund, or they want to leave it sitting with conservation.
Oh,
So
oh,
it's-
really?
And then if town meeting says we'll take it, then the governor's motion is going to, I guess, go forward. That's the gist of, I think, what I caught today.
So could they take it, a town meeting?
They took
could
it up
vote
at
to
the
take it
selectmen's
away?
meeting last night, and they decided that they would like to see this get put on the warrant as a question. So, in essence, it gives oversight, but again, like I said at this meeting, the oversight really comes into, the stabilization fund can't be touched without town meeting's approval anyway.
Right. But I
The only
mean,
reason that this is doing it this way is because obviously in a hurry, this would take 2 or 3 months to get this through and get it approved if something were to happen and the town needed that fund. Otherwise, now it's in the stabilization account, which would take a 2-week delay to call a special town meeting and can we use it, so.
but you
but-
said, so at town meeting, they could vote to take it
Town meeting could
away
vote to
from-
say, we don't want the money, leave it right where it is. And they were in a sense saying, we don't want you to petition the legislature. So, as of right this minute, of course, the money's still sitting in that account, right where nothing's been moved.
Right.
Okay, I don't know if I'm happy with them doing that without talking to us first.
Well, I'm not crazy about the idea myself, and the problem I have with it is what I said earlier. It really is up to the Conservation Commission to oversee this account. This is, for lack of a better explanation, this is our account.
Right.
I think where the select board are interpreting town meeting's involvement is out of the stabilization fund. We're taking this and putting it into the stabilization fund. I think they're looking for a thumbs up from the town for the stabilization account.
To take it out of stabilization?
No,
To put it in?
to put it in to begin with. They want to see if select board wants to see if the town wants to go through with this process.
Okay, here's where I have a problem, and it's the word we hate the most,
Preston,
precedent.
I agree.
If we give the town the right to vote on this now, what is going to prevent them in 3 years from saying, we want another vote to take more money?
Nothing.
Yes, and given the human nature of the fact, if members of the town meeting see that there's money available to them that won't come out of their pockets, I'm
That's
afraid
right.
they'll embrace it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, but are we protected by being able to say no?
I think we've already voted.
I mean, on the future.
In the future, sure.
Okay.
It's our account. Unless, the town orders the select board, town meeting would have to order the select board and the attorneys to petition the governor to have a legislation drawn up, taking it out of our control and putting it in the control of town meeting.
Oh, okay, so it has to, yeah, it has to be,
Yeah.
that's what goes to the legislature is whether, okay,
It's pretty well tied up the way it's been constructed.
right.
Like we talked about, we'd like to see it used for some maintenance on
Yes.
property that we already own. That would be great.
Yes.
That also takes a modification of the original legislative product.
So,
But
And you
that would,
couldn't even do an end run. You couldn't donate it to the town, stick it in the stabilization fund, have town meeting vote to put it back into a slush account so we could maintain property. You can't, you wouldn't be able to do that.
right, so is this going to be an opportunity to amend the language for use of that account so that, say, a small percentage of that sum can annually be used for maintenance of existing conservation properties?
that would probably, in my opinion, be a bylaw change that would not be voted on at this town meeting or
It
wait
would be
till
in
the
the
fall.
fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to have town meeting vote on that and then have the petition the legislature to allow it.
Yes.
Because the legislators are going to come back and say, well, what did town meeting say? And that's exactly what they think is going to happen with this transfer. They think the legislature is going to come back and say, well, what did town meeting say? So that's why they want to bring it before town meeting to see if they yes or nay.
Who
they
told
yea or
them that
nay.
that would probably be what happened?
Huh?
Who
thought that this legislature would ask what town meeting said.
They think that the legislature is not going to side with 4 members on a conservation board. I think they're going to ask, where's the town in this picture? That was the thought. I don't know if that came from a question from council, or that was just part of a comment made or whatever, but.
But even though it was made originally to be a conservation fund.
Right.
So now all of a sudden they're gonna say, oh, now it's up to the town?
Sure. Until this all came up, we had $616,000 in there. We could have gone with a vote of 4-0 or 3-1 in this case, and spent $600,000 on a piece of property for the sole purpose of conservation property.
Right.
And there is zero involvement from anyone else. Selectmen, town meeting, this has already been approved by town meeting. That's how this came to pass to start with.
Right.
Is the size of the account, I mean, this is all really relative to what land goes for now and what it'll go for in 5 years and 10 years from now.
Sure.
Whether or not, I mean, would we be worried about oversight if this thing only had 20K in it?
Oh, yeah.
They'd still be worried about oversight?
Oh, you think that, who would be worried? No, I don't think
Select board or
anybody.
anybody else? No.
Enough to buy a telephone booth?
It's funny, we came down 3A today heading back to Quincy, and I came through Hingham Rotary and down 3A and into Hingham Harbor, and I pointed to a beautiful piece of grass overlooking the harbor. And I said to Jean, I says, I used to work right there. She says, what do you mean? I said, well, that's when it was the Wolf Sullivan Chrysler Plymouth dealership. And whether they donated it to the town or the town bought it after he died or whatever, but they ripped the whole building down. It was actually built on a pier, and now it's a park.
Yeah.
So if you were to take this situation and bring it to that, then you could argue that you could buy a piece of property that had a building on it, demolish the building, and turn that area into a conservation park. So this is the idea behind this whole land acquisition fund. That I don't think it was ever designed that we go find a vacant piece of property that's all overgrown with weeds and designate it conservation and buy it.
Right.
I think it was designed so that there'd be enough money in it to buy a desirable piece of property and modify it into something that could be useful. Because that's a beautiful park in downtown Hingham, and that was obviously worth a tremendous amount of money in the day. I don't know how it turned into a park, whether they bought it from the estate or whatever after John Sullivan died, but.
I mean, that illustrates my point as to potentially what a pittance this account really will be.
Even with a $500,000 in it, sure.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, we've decided that we're not going to change the language of what the law says, going forward. We're not going to set the cap, we're not going to set the floor. And we also know that there is a lot of solar coming in, which is really the fuel to get
Right.
that thing up. So if everything that we've talked about in the last year and a half here, as those things start to get built, that could be up to $1 million.
In the next 3 or 4 years, that fund could potentially be upwards in
Yeah.
those numbers.
Oh,
It
yeah.
only took, if you look at the chart we got, the spreadsheet, it only took 6 years or 5 years to get to, from 128 to 616.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are still many more projects coming online.
bigger.
And like Sari said, the big solars, those.
Sure,
Are you saying that money from solar projects goes into this?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Well,
that.
the
That's
chief
where it
was
comes,
funded.
all the fees that are paid for conservation permits.
Yeah.
The sliding
is-
scale of what it costs.
No,
Yeah,
this is,
yeah, it's actually-
actually, this
Yeah,
is
that's my
actually
thing.
when the land comes out of 61A,
Right.
Yes.
because there's solar, there's a new tax rate. That money goes into this account.
The differential.
Yep.
And the 5-year, they have to pay back taxes for 5 years
Yeah.
as well. And all that goes into it.
So, it was
So-
very well structured as to how it did. It never grew in the first 10 years because we had very little going on.
Right.
But
No,
now
major.
with this explosion of solar, these dual use projects and so forth, that land is coming out of 61A to be
Yeah.
a solar project. In fact, the governor they're trying to get that legislation changed, that if you have dual use, you can stay in 61A because technically you're still farming the land.
Right.
So what's
Yeah,
the deal?
I was completely surprised when Michael told me that the dual use was still taken out of 61.
Taken out of 61A. Unless they produce the electricity for use on their own bog.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but that would be a good line to add, Mary Ann, just that the board was in agreement with leaving that fund alone. I'd be in favor of that.
I don't know that I've seen all the language as to the account, what defines the account, how it's actually described as what it's used for, and then in terms of if there's any language backing up, how we can go about using the funds, other than like what is defined as acquisition of funds, is just buying the land and then washing our
Buying the
hands of
land,
any other-
hiring the engineers, and doing the legal work, that's it.
That's it.
Well, maybe we should get copies of the document enabling this fund.
It's just
and
not,
it's for
I'm
us
just
to
curious
look
if
at.
there's anything in there that infers maintenance.
No,
Nothing?
to the best of my knowledge, I have not seen the document.
Yeah, I don't
I've
think so
asked
either.
several people, and I've been told no. It was
Because
strictly
I-
land acquisition.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be in favor of using that fund for labor, because there are too many resources that we could get in-kind help, labor, whether it be from volunteers or actual contractors, but I'm just talking about, materials, improved signage, things like that, to both educate the public about it and protect it. That's
And we
part
can-
of what we're,
And we can use the money from the wetlands fund too. That other fund from the fund.
For that
We can
purpose?
use that
Yes.
for
Yeah,
maintenance
that can
and
be for
signs and
maintenance and
stuff.
stuff.
Yep.
And that's the fee? That's the fund that comes
That's
from the fee?
the half the half state, half town.
Yeah.
So that we have that wetlands fund, which is separate from the
so
acquisition.
okay, I mean, do you know how the mechanism for the wetlands fund, how that's funded?
That's from the filing fees.
It is as well.
From when the.
It's only the filing fees. The other one is from the taxes
Yeah, yeah.
that they have to make up from the,
I'll have to check. I'm not sure how much we have in that, but we can quite a bit.
Yeah, I think we've rolled right off topic for minutes, though.
well, maybe that's the one we look at to change the language on for maintenance. Using
Yeah.
the filing fee fund for maintenance.
Yep.
And not touch the other one.
Well, because that one was, I talked to MACC about that one time, and that, because there was something that we wanted to do, and I wanted to check with them to see if we could use that fund, and we could. So it's for things like buying the plaques that we buy.
Yep.
So that would include maintenance. I mean,
Yes.
that's our money.
What about boardwalks on sections to mitigate impact?
I don't see why we couldn't. I mean, that's.
I think there's more leeway in that fund than there currently is
Yeah.
in the state
Yeah.
legislated fund.
Yeah.
And I
think the acquisition fund is beautiful the way it is. I just was curious to know if I didn't know if there was a way to either use a percentage of it, or if it's cleaner to use the wetland fund, I'm happy with that too.
Yeah, I think we should look at using the wetland fund, trying
Yeah.
to figure out how much there is. Because if
Okay.
we start fooling with the language on the other fund, other people are going to want to change the language as well.
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Use that extra one.
For me, whatever the cleanest way toward getting some maintenance projects going and some education projects going for the conservation
Yeah.
land that we have, I'm for.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so that's something.
All right,
whatever
I'll
the
see how
account
much we
name
got.
is, I don't
All
care.
right.
I'll take a look.
And the fees are based on the cost of the project, right?
Yeah,
So-
and what category project it is.
Right, so
Yeah.
the fees for
So the fees for
solar
the solar
are going to come in higher.
And
Sorry,
honest what? I mean,
it's all
see,
sold
this
off
Anrad, the
top.
Anrad
Yeah.
today, the big hoop and the one on Fuller Street, that was $2,000.
Could be a violation.
So half goes to us and half goes to the
Yeah.
state.
Can I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written with Savory's recommended
Got
amendment,
distracted.
with the Savory's recommended
I will
change?
second that.
Been moved and seconded to accept the minutes for May 20th, 2020 as written,
With the changes, Mr.
As
Chairman.
amended.
as amended. Okay, and do we have the amendment written down? Mary Ann, you have enough?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mary
Yeah.
Ann fixed it.
So, as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, please, all those opposed, noes, okay? So we have unanimous vote on that. Let's, we've still got
I'm
another
ready.
8 minutes.
No, it was 7:15.
No, they
It's at
both say
7:30.
7:30.
Oh, they do?
We have no abutters, is that going to be a problem? Or we
No.
can take a vote?
And, well, we could do 170 Plymouth Street. The RDA.
Well,
That's,
No, he was going to zoom in.
Right.
at 7:30. Is he waiting? Who's
No,
waiting?
I have Sandy in the waiting room.
Who's Sandy? Elise?
It says Sandra.
Oh,
Sandra Cohilo.
I don't know who that
I
is.
don't know who that is
Coelho.
either.
Unless she's doing the Elise, unless she's doing, she didn't do.
No, Elise said she was going to be on tonight.
Right. And then I thought Peter Martin was going to do his, right?
Right,
Well-
but his is listed at 7:30, not 7:15.
Yeah,
East
but on
Fuller
the
Street,
agenda,
Plymouth
his is,
Street.
but the invite was for 7:15.
Huh.
So I'm going to let her come in and we'll see what she's here for.
Yeah, unless it's in a butter that I don't know about.
She's connecting. Oh, it's Peter, I think. How, you,
It is.
wait, hold on, let me get some volume
Can
turned
they
up
see
here.
us? They can. They're waving
Yeah.
at us.
I'm not getting volume here. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that, can
Whoops.
you guys pick this up?
You put the microphone over next to your computer last time.
Might have to do that. Let's try that again. You can hear me all right?
Yes.
Can you get that? Okay. And you're for Plymouth Street?
170, yep.
Yes, 170 Plymouth.
So should I go ahead and read the notice on it?
Oh, you gotta read it, right? 'Cause Jim said.
Hold on one second, Mr. Chairman. Their audio is kind of low and I can't get it any higher. Might have to talk maybe a little bit more into your own microphone.
All right. I don't know. Can you hear me better now?
Just
Hold on with me for 1 second.
I put the volume all the way up. Oh, you did? Yeah. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Volume.
Oops.
Okay. You got
Can't hear you now. It sounds like it might be his.
Seems to be worse than the last time. I think my speakers are back here. You don't even know where the speakers are, right? I don't use this computer very often. Okay, you still with us?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we are. Hear you loud and
Is that better? Yeah, I don't have any sound coming out of the big screen, so.
Oh,
Mr. Chairman, it's all yours.
Okay. Notice hereby given in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall, to hear the request for determination of eligibility filed by Peter G. Martin to determine C.D. whether the area and/or proposed work depicted on the plan is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw of the town of Carver, and E, whether the scope of that work is adequate for work in the riverfront area as depicted on the plan. The project is located at 170 Plymouth Street, Carver, Mass, map 16, lot 10R. All interested parties invited to attend. Okay.
I'll give you a picture.
So,
We saw these today, but.
Brooke, should we have,
Yeah.
should we just have Peter go ahead?
What Jim just read, Peter, was just the notice of the hearing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
There we go. Now we got you.
Okay.
All right. Your turn.
All right. Well, we moved into this property in February. We bought it from Ed Maureen Fuller. And what we would like to do is out back, put in an above-ground swimming pool. It's a kayak pool. It's 18 feet by 32, I believe. It's a type of pool that you can keep filled all year round, so it doesn't have to be drained for the winter, which is a benefit. What we're trying to do, we have we live in an apartment. Our daughter and her family live in the house, the main house. And we're trying to get a pool in there primarily because our granddaughters live here, and one of our granddaughters is autistic. And swimming and those types of activities are extremely good for her. So we moved from Cooper's Pond, where she did swimming, to here, where we can't do swimming. And we have Muddy Brook that kind of goes to the north side of the property. And we'd like to put the pool out there, no digging. It's not going to be recessed. There will be no deep end. It'll just be a 4-foot deep rectangular swimming pool. And I guess that's it. I'm not sure what else you need me to tell you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
is
you.
there anything else that we need to hear from?
You had mentioned wanting to see the buffer zones, Sabri?
Well,
So he could use, that his latest architectural plan, which showed buffer zones, if you wanted to see those?
I think that, I mean, our bylaws state that we should.
Yeah.
We should see we should have a plan that shows exactly where the pool is going to go with distances to the edge of the wetlands, delineated wetlands and riverfront.
Yeah.
Because our bylaws are that anything within 100 feet of a riverfront requires a variance.
Excuse me, sir, can you hear him, Peter?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
All right.
you might want to talk into that mic a little closer.
Okay, so, just, you were the first of 2 swimming pool requests this evening, and the other requests the other site visit we did was another 16 by 32 pool in close proximity to another wetland. And in being, following our bylaws and treating everyone the same, we need to have a plan. And it could probably be utilized by you said you had an architectural plan from when you put the addition on, or when Ed Fuller put the addition on?
Yes, Ed Fuller sent me one about 2 weeks ago, yes.
Okay, I'm thinking that maybe that's something that you can give to your pool installer, and have him mark on there where you think the pool should best be located. Because frankly, you are creating an impervious surface, because water will not be getting under this 16 by 32 footprint. It's the same as if it were a paved patio. So it would fall under the same bylaws that state impervious surfaces require a variance from us if it's within 100 feet of a riverfront, which is what Muddy Brook is. So,
Would it be better, once we do get these plans, that the fellow come in and talk over with Brooke? The layout
What
of
was
it?
that?
So,
I didn't hear that. I'm not sure if it was directed to me, but I couldn't hear it.
yeah, all right, well, I'm asking the commission, Peter, whether the agent should be assisted in helping the builder of the pool plan the actual location and pointing out any reasons for it to be slightly this way, that way, in other words. So,
I think we need to see the plan first.
okay, well,
We need to see where the 100-foot and the 200-foot.
right, we do, right. But I think that then Brooke can say to him, well, this is why we have to do thus and so. But if we get the plan first, then
Yeah.
he should bring it in to you.
I mean, he can bring it in to show you, but.
Right. And you could use that architectural plan because that shows the buffer zones. So all he would need to do would be show where the pool is, within those buffer
In
zones.
relation to the buffer zones.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
How soon are you building this, Peter?
As soon as we get approvals.
I just don't want to see this get dragged out and this
No.
poor gentleman has to wait till August before he gets the okay
December.
to put a pool in.
Right.
I agree. I understand that your concern is, but we have bylaws.
I understand, and I agree with that.
And
I'd like to
precedent.
see us get this on the agenda for the next
Yeah.
meeting in 2 weeks, and if you can provide us all the documentation that we need as far as the setbacks goes, potentially that night at that hearing, we could give this gentleman what he needs.
Peter, did you say that you actually have the plans or that Ed is going to send them to you?
He said he has them, I think.
Yeah.
Ed sent them to me electronically, so I have them.
Okay. So if you could then either print them and bring a copy into the conservation agent, or just link them to, send them to her electronically and she could print them out. That's the big thing, is that we get to see them and know what's involved.
Well, if you have, Mr. Chairman, if I may, if you have the plans electronically, could you email a copy of those plans to Brooke?
Sure.
Okay.
They don't
So
have
we could
the
get a heads up?
Yes, that's what.
They can do that. They don't have the pool placement in them yet.
No, but that'll tell us where we are with that.
Right.
And then once your pool guy determines where the pool is going, he could perhaps update that, and you could email that to Brooke so we could have everything we need before the next meeting.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Is that something that would be acceptable to the rest of the
Yes,
commission?
that'd be ideal.
And it's pretty close, I think it's pretty close to where you had it on this plan, Peter, right? Where we were today?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had drawn it onto this other plan. So.
Yeah, I downloaded that from the assessors map, so
Yeah.
sorry about the...
No. That's fine. I think that would work out good, so, I guess that's all we need to do. There's no motion required, right? We're just gonna have
No.
him send in the current plan to Brooke,
Yeah,
and then when the pool gets overlaid on it, update us, and then we'll get him on the next agenda for the next conservation meeting. Want to set that date, or is that just gonna be in 2 weeks?
I think we ought to just continue this until we know that we're going to go ahead with it. Once Brooke looks at it,
Let's continue it for 2 weeks, and if that doesn't work, we'll continue it for 2 more.
exactly.
Okay.
okay.
So a motion to continue?
So we're gonna make a motion to continue this for 2 weeks, Peter.
Okay.
June 17th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
A second on that motion?
I'll second it. Oh, Dan can, I don't care.
It's moved seconded to continue the hearing on 170 Plymouth Street for 2 weeks, pending arrival of plans. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed unanimous.
So technically, it's unanimously passed to continue this for 2 weeks to the 17th.
Okay.
So try to get us all the information we need to have as soon as you possibly can.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna bring in Elise.
When it does come time to actually vote on that, am I technically in a butter?
Not really yet.
I don't know that it matters, does it?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
you probably would be.
Yeah,
If this was a notice of intent, you would have been notified.
yeah.
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
Where are you
are they
in
going to need a
relation to this
notice of
house,
intent?
Dan?
No, he's-
To get for a
I can
variance?
see it from my driveway.
You can see it, it's
I'm
true, but
across the street.
Yeah, but if you can see it, that doesn't necessarily mean you're in a butter.
300
What's the-
feet? Or you think you're more than 300
I wonder
feet?
if we could do it through
I'm
the,
less
through the
than 300.
request instead of having to make him file.
Well, whatever. If it turns out you're under butter, you just recuse yourself at that moment.
I was just abstaining.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
did it. All right. Hello.
Hi, Elise, hold on a minute, we're trying to wrap
Because
up the beginnings of
we
it all. I
could-
just wanted to
you know,
get you in so your audio would get hooked
you
up.
can condition.
Got it.
You can condition like you can put like conditions onto this, instead of having to make him file, and then that's another, a month and a half at least, if he has to file notice of intent. Because typically, if it's an above-ground pool, it's been an RDA, you know what I mean?
That's
So
right.
So, yeah. I mean, I hate to have him make him file notice.
So can we
I want
allow
to discuss
him?
this after we do this one.
Yeah. I mean, we could condition this.
Well, we have 2 weeks, but I want to discuss.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, at this point, we're going to go to,
Elise?
Yes.
What's that?
hi.
All right.
Elise.
I have to read the, at
He's
least
gonna
I-
read the,
LYSE.
he's gonna
Notice.
read the ANRAD.
Yeah, EL.
Chairman will read
Perfect.
that now, and then we'll take up from there.
Sounds
Nope.
good.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Mass Wetlands and Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:30 PM on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the abbreviated nature of resource area delineation filed by ADGA Realty, LLC. The applicant is requesting through the ANRAD that the Carver Conservation Commission confirm the wetland resource areas on the property. Property is project is located at 16 Indian Street, Carver, Mass., map 93, lot 1. All interested parties are invited to attend. Okay.
Okay, we got it. It's read. Can you hear everybody okay?
I sure can.
Oh, you're coming through loud and clear. Okay, you want to let her
I'll make
go
sure I don't
first?
scream.
Yeah.
All right, you're on.
All right. I don't want to be too loud.
No, you're good.
All right. So, for the record, my name is Elise Tripp from Outback Engineering here on an ANRAD. And so we had looked at the site today. It was about 5,000, well, exactly 5,264 linear feet of isolated vegetated wetland and bordering vegetated wetland that surrounded mostly reservoir areas, some of them abandoned or not. Yeah, I guess abandoned is a good word for it. And then we basically walked through today on what was the boundary of it, of the lot of where we're talking for the ANRAD. So the bogs on the lot aren't a part of this. I know we mentioned that earlier, but just to make sure that's clear. The IVWs there was 4 of them, and going through, I didn't find any hydrologic connection or anything obvious that would mark that it was connected to any of the bordering vegetated wetlands. And as far as the plan goes, which I believe that you guys have with you looking at, I'm hoping, we have the 65-foot no build for the bylaw, and that's in red. And in regards to the cranberry bogs, I know that that's applicable with the 100-foot. We treated that as we should as a resource area. So the 100-foot buffer in green is encompassing the cranberry bog and going around the BBW. Most of the cranberry bogs, the 100-foot buffer from the top of Bank falls within the BBW, so we're using that further resource area. And then there is Indian Creek going through the cranberry bogs, just to mention it. We're out of the 200-foot completely on this, but I believe it pops up on the bottom corner of the plan in yellow. And then last but not least, the cranberry bogs, top of Banks in purple. And per the Wetland Protection Act, the IVWs are non-jurisdictional, so we just wanted to also point that out. And that pretty much sums up, I know you guys were there today, so it's pretty clear on everything that's out there. Do you have any questions?
Anything I want,
Did you want to look
Franny?
at the plans, Alan?
Can you zoom in on what's on the table so that there's a record of that drawing? Fran or Fran? Or do we need to hold it up? Just so that it ends up on the video.
Yeah, we could hold it up, put it up on the, you can put it on the easel. Want to put it in the easel? Yeah.
Just so that it gets almost like a snapshot, so we have it in there.
Yeah, we need a big piece of foam cord to pin them up to.
Trying to get this immortalized.
Yeah, no worries. The lighting in my house isn't gonna do.
I wasn't
much
sure
good.
how to do the plans when you asked. I wasn't sure how that would work.
No
Yeah,
worries.
I can share the screen, but that's not going to help you, I don't think.
We talked about this earlier,
Don't
right?
have the right angle. Wait a
It's
second.
okay.
Here we go. We can hold it.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. Can you hold that up more of an angle so that the camera can catch it?
Just turn it clockwise.
Yeah.
I can pan it.
Yeah, just so that we have a record of a document.
Yeah. Where's the whole document? I can shoot little pieces of tape. That's good right there. Go for it.
They call this the new normal, God help us.
We'll iron out the kinks, right?
It looks like a
look at
fashion.
there.
It's like
About
a
the time we
fashion
get it
show.
right, they'll lift all the bands.
Yeah, exactly.
looks like a little fashion show or something, doesn't it?
High school show and tell.
Look at the fun we're having.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good. All right, everybody got a snapshot of, we just wanted anybody that's watching this later on YouTube, we want them to be able to see the drawing so that when
Of
we start
course.
talking about 100-foot lines and 65-foot lines, they'll have somewhat of a comprehension of what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. I've seen everyone's doing it different ways, so as long as it's there, it's perfect.
She's all set. She asked if we had any comments, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I have none at this point.
I think it was pretty obvious what we saw today.
Yeah. There's a nanorad, so it's no real,
Right.
it's not a lot of information to
Yeah.
deal with
No work proposed or anything.
yet. Okay, so what do you think we should go from here, Brooke?
So you vote to issue the ORAD,
Yes, okay.
and basically says that the wetlands are,
In the
you know...
mic, Brooke, so she
Yeah,
can hear.
vote to issue the ORAD, basically saying that the wetlands are accurately delineated, as shown on the plans, and what we saw on the site visit.
Okay. So, right, we have the documents, and they'll be evaluated, and I guess basically we have to just issue the ORAD.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion that we issue an ORAD for 16 Indian Street based on the plans that we saw in the site walk this morning.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to issue an ORAD for 16 Indian Street. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
You're all set. 4
All
to
right,
0,
thanks.
unanimous.
Thank you, Elise.
Thank you. Nice seeing you guys
Enjoy
today.
your evening. Thank you.
You too. All right.
See you
bye-bye.
later.
Oh, and you can add to that, I'm sorry, you can add to that we got the DP file number, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're good?
okay. Yeah.
I guess we're good.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Elise.
We're out.
Oh,
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, SE 126-600.
That was easy. It's about the time we get good at this, they'll lift us.
I know.
Be able to have-
We'll probably be able to have live meetings pretty soon, I would imagine, they're opening town
We're
hall.
opening town hall. I don't know if they're gonna allow what the crowd size is
Yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah, we always pack them in.
Yeah.
CBA's having their meeting in the high school auditorium in
Really?
2 weeks. I don't know why yet. I
Was that?
might have a dancing band or something. I don't know what's coming.
Oh, they said we can, they said if you did have big projects, you can use the school auditorium.
Yeah,
Is that what
school
you were saying?
auditorium. I
Yeah.
think it's a good-sized public hearing, and I think that the chairman wants to accommodate any and all.
Oh, the ZBA one? Is that the one? Oh,
That's
yeah,
in
yeah,
the high
yeah.
school.
what's it for?
I know Andrews is on it, and there's one other project, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
I think there's
Andrews,
one
I
on
think,
Meadow
will be.
Street or something?
I
Meadow?
think so, yeah.
It's controversial. I think Stephen Gray didn't want to do it Zoom-wise. He wanted...
Oh, he won't do a
wanted
Zoom
it-
meeting. He's
he wants-
good.
Yeah, but you can do like you do for us.
I think these are just difficult.
Yeah.
There's nothing like, this isn't the next best thing to be in there as far as I'm
No,
concerned.
I know. Yep.
All right, I want to go back to the, not necessarily the Plymouth Street project, but as I'm sure we've been aware of, with the coronavirus and all of the restrictions that are in place nationwide, but certainly around here, that people are turning to recreating in their own backyards. Pools are coming, and they're going to come fast. So I think that we've got to be stringent to our bylaws
Yep.
in what we require. Because it doesn't, a pool does cover a footprint of places where the sun will no longer get.
Yep.
A pool is the same as a shed, is the same as a paved patio. So we can't just say, oh, this, this guy's a nice guy,
Right.
let's let him do it. If the bylaws state that he needs an NOI, he needs an NOI.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, we set precedent. I think that we're
Oh,
going
I
to have
agree.
more and more people coming to us with smaller and smaller yards that want to put a pool in. And I think that if this is maybe just the start of it. And I think if we're just like, this is the way it is, and we treat the same person the same way on Plymouth Street as we do on Alexandra Way and all the ones that will come afterwards, that we have to go by what
And
our
I agree
bylaws
with you
state.
100%. I just would like to see us have a system that's not so drawn out, that's all. I'm not looking for engineering, me personally, I'm not looking for engineering drawings. I want to know where the wetlands are, where you're trying to put the pool, what are you trying to accomplish here. Talk to me in English, make it simple, tell me why you're putting the pool in. Obviously, your kids have been cooped up since March, and they're driving you crazy. You probably want to drown half of them, which is why you're putting the pool in. So, and I don't blame them. So I want to make it so that this doesn't happen. If they try to do it right now, it doesn't happen till August.
Right.
Because we have to publish 14 days and this, and we need an engineer, and we need to have a site visit, and we need to, on something that is, if it's going to be a permanent structure, absolutely. That we
It's a
need to do
permanent
little
structure.
more-
It's there all year
Right.
long. He
Kayak.
said that
Yep.
the water stays in it all year long.
But I would like to see, given the fact that we are under what we've gone under, I'd like to see just some form of, not a quick okey dokey, don't misunderstand me. I'd like to see it be a little more streamlined in the process.
But if someone was putting in a shed or a garage, we would require plans.
But a shed or a garage would not require nice weather to enjoy it.
It doesn't make a difference.
You gotta still, personally, Savory, from my standpoint, you need to be a little more realistic with it. That's just me. Yeah,
Then you're opening the door for someone to do a shed the same way.
I don't, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I think you are.
I still want the project to go forward with the proper documentation, with the proper vetting. That's why I asked, can you email us the plans? Can you email us where the pool's gonna go? So that we have a handle on it, so when we
Yes.
get there, we know, obviously you're gonna wanna do a little site walk, or you've already done one, so you know where the wetlands are.
Right.
So now you've seen it, so when he says, I wanna put the pool 22 feet off the side of my house, and it's gonna be 61 feet from the edge, or it's gonna be 71 feet from the edge, but it's still within the 100, we can make a decision at that meeting, is all I'm saying. It doesn't need to be drawn out to another meeting.
I understand that. And
That's all. I have no problem with it going a couple of weeks or the next meeting and stuff like that, provided. But if the next meeting, it's, hey, I didn't get a chance to send you the documents yet, well, then it's gonna be 2 more weeks. We still gotta have the information.
yes,
Because the question was, for this determination was, okay, we already knew it was within the jurisdiction because half the house is in the 100-foot, and so being just an above-ground pool, their request is, does the above-ground pool, have an impact on the wetland resource areas?
I agree.
So, and typically, above-ground pools, we've had a couple, and we've done negative requests. Negative determination, because it's just an above-ground pool, as opposed to, in-ground pool.
But some of
where
these
you're doing a lot of
above-ground pools,
digging.
Savory's correct. My next door
Right.
neighbor when I grew up had an above-ground apex. And that pool was in place there for 20 years.
yeah.
So it was as permanent a structure. The only thing it was missing was a hole in the ground.
Right.
Because it was what would have been the hole in the ground, except it was above ground. So I get that. It's not one of these inflatable things that, you take down and put away for the winter.
Right,
What's
right.
our position on those?
On the inflatable
The
ones?
seasonal ones.
I don't know.
The
What is-
seasonal ones.
Well, seasonal ones, you're probably not going to put it up until things are starting to grow, and I would say a seasonal one is sort of like a dock. We allow docks that are seasonal. We don't allow permanent docks in the lake. Put it in April or May, and you take it out in October. It's not there all the time. This one's there all the time. He doesn't even have to take water out of it. He doesn't have to
Right.
half reduce it and put a bubble in it and then cover it. He can keep the water in it all year long. That's how strong and sturdy the sides are. it can
this
withstand the
is-
expansion and contraction of ice.
This is, actually, this is what would be built for an in-ground, above-ground. It's a solid
Right.
structure.
Right.
Got a deck all the way around it, or most of the way around it, or all the way around it, some of them. Some of the
Yeah.
old Apex, that's what they were called, Apex pools.
Yeah,
So in this case, since he filed, the request, you could, once we get the plan, you could issue a positive determination and put conditions on that, instead of making him now have to go refile, file a whole notice of intent. I mean, you could do it that way. We've done that before. We had
Yes.
positive determination saying, yes, it's within the jurisdiction, yep, and then I think we could do a variance through that, but then put conditions on it, make him put up erosion controls.
well, I think because, I mean, we looked at it today, he's certainly, and he admitted it himself, that the house is within 100 feet.
Right.
And we're talking about a riverfront, we're not talking about a wetland, we're talking
I
about a
understand.
riverfront. So our bylaws are that anything within 100 feet of a riverfront requires a variance. I just want to make sure that that whatever mechanism we use to let
We use
let him
for
do this,
everybody.
that it is on the record that they had to request and receive from us a variance in
Yeah.
order to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to determine what we can do with
Now, is
everybody else.
this gonna
that comes.
require certified mail to the abutters and all this stuff, or what are we really doing? Is do we see it as a structure? Obviously, he's gotta have a building permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I
Gonna
mean,
have to have an electrical permit.
Yes, he knows that.
so if we make him file a notice of intent, yes, he will have to notify abutters. But that's gonna be another,
Month.
month, at least.
So what's the other way of doing this?
You issue a positive determination saying, that, yes, it's within the jurisdiction, yes, the work is gonna have an impact, but then we can put conditions on that, kind of like almost like an order of conditions. And if you filed a notice of intent, what would we do for conditions? We'd probably maybe erosion control.
Yeah, we'd still have conditions, but I think Savory's concerned about going around the normal notice of
I'm
NOI.
I'm concerned with all the ones to come, as I always
And
am.
you know me and precedent.
I know.
I'm the first one screaming about it's not you, it's the next guy.
Right. I mean, would you have a different opinion of what you wanted to do if he came to us in November and said, next year I want to do something?
So
That's a good point, because I probably would have a very different opinion.
Then it's not
'Cause I'd be
valid.
like, you're not in any big hurry for it.
Right.
So we probably should have told him that then.
Well,
I mean, I can tell him, and then he can get.
If he files an NOI for this project, does he absolutely have to go through the publish in the paper and
Oh,
the
yeah.
abutters and all that?
Yep. Yep.
I think that's the way the rules are.
What do you think, Mr. Chairman?
It's hard to say for me. I'm thinking that it's really a temporary structure. It's not a permanent structure. There's no permanent change to the land, basically.
And you could also say that the riverfront, it is in the riverfront. The riverfront theoretically is disturbed. I mean, it's lawn now. There's a house there. The trampoline was there. You know what I mean? It's not a pristine
But they're
riverfront.
still gonna have to take away grass, excavate out grass, and bring in sand, and set this thing on sand. They
Right.
gotta set this thing on a base. So there's work to be done under it. It's not like they're just bringing it, like you
Right.
take an inflatable pool and put it on your lawn.
No.
That's not what's happening with this.
Right, and there's going to be 500 square feet that won't see the sun again,
Right.
that nothing will grow on.
Unless we have bulbs underneath it.
But I'm just
Right.
thinking, if he filed a notice of intent, what would we have him do? We'd have him put up erosion controls, which we could do under the determination. I don't know what other conditions we would set. I mean,
It doesn't really need erosion control.
I think we have to move ourselves away from this one particular case. We have to look at all of them. What do we want everyone to do who wants to do a pool within an area that requires a variance?
Right.
Are we going to allow each one of them to do this special thing?
right.
I think Savory, I hate to say this, but I think you're absolutely right. I think that Because I'm the first guy beating the drum over the next guy that comes after this. And we get ourselves beat up all the time over what we let somebody do 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I don't want to be the bad guy here, and summertime's coming, and I know that everybody's antsy to get out of the house and get outside, and you're right. People aren't running to the amusement parks and because they're out in the open, but even when they open, I think there's going to be concern about, kids are trying to get out of the house now and go play.
Right.
So people are putting in pools, they're doing outside recreational stuff, and there could be a flood of this coming along in the next month. And, we could get ourselves beat right over the head with, well, this is all you made them do over here.
Yep.
So if I tell him tomorrow,
Yeah.
I mean, he could get working on a notice of intent.
I would do, as fast track as we can. And if that means, how much time has to,
I was about to say, can that be expedited?
Could you get the ad in the paper tomorrow?
No.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
not for Friday?
No, because the paper doesn't take the ad, paper only takes the ad on a Monday, and it doesn't go until the following Friday. So I could write
So
up
you
the
could do it,
ad,
you could do it Monday, it'd be in over the following weekend, and he still would be okay to be in here in 2 weeks.
and I can write, I've done that, I put the ad in before we've actually received the filing. So I
Okay.
could do that.
And
Gives us cover.
do we have any other hearings on the 17th?
No, so we could maybe
We could
push
push
it off
that back
till the
a
20th.
week to the 24th, which would give him the time to do that.
24th, I have a ZBA. Sorry. You can do it 3 to 0, 3 to 0.
Well, just because of, I don't know. Like I said, we don't have anything the 17th, so instead of having to wait till July, which,
July 1st. It would
Right.
be July 1st. It'd be 4 weeks from today instead of 3.
but,
It's gonna be 2 weeks to get this pool set up for this guy. I mean, he's still gonna bring the contractor in who isn't sitting back twiddling his thumbs till he gets the okay. So then there's a slot that he's gotta swing
Right,
himself in.
and
so if we
That's
get
the
it
only
on
reason I'm
the-
asking for this, because I know that times are wasting, and the summer season for a swimming pool is minuscule to start with. So now we're talking about July.
you can't talk about seasons.
Well, we have to talk about what's best for the taxpayer, and that's honestly and truly, that's my first priority. Then I worry about the bylaws and the wetlands. And
You have to-
I can't do this to a taxpayer, and because he's gonna be, by the time we're done, it's gonna be August before he sticks his big toe in the water. And
So-
I don't think that that's right.
So we can have a meeting without you?
Well, we should have a meeting on the 17th. If we can pull this off and get everything done,
You wouldn't be able to advertise it on time.
why?
Because it goes that Friday, but it's gonna be advertised for 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay,
So
so
that's
it'll be
what,
the
that's what
24th.
screws it all up.
Okay.
Could we have it on Thursday of that next week, so the 25th
Good.
meeting?
Meetings don't have to be on Wednesday.
Yeah, in this case, because we don't have any other hearings to be held.
Right.
We could have just a short meeting from that.
And that way Alan could come, Thursday
Well,
the 20.
It's not because of me by any means. I mean,
We're
the
trying to
town,
take care of- yeah.
town hall could be open, or we may have to have it on Zoom, but that's fine. I try to weigh everything, not just one thing. And I'm trying to think of myself, I have a roof going on the house. We finally pulled the plug and said, okay, do the roof. Then he calls up and says, well, it's gonna be a month. If I had said, okay, a week ago, he'd have been here this coming week. So this is what's gonna happen with these. He's gonna wait till he gets his okay, then tell the contractor, I'm all set with conservation, we have a building permit, go ahead and put my pool in, and this guy's gonna say, first week of August, no problem. And I just, I'm trying to look at it from both sides. I wanna do it the right way, but I wanna do it as expeditiously as we possibly can for the benefit of the taxpayer. But follow the rules.
Following the rules, yes, but
Okay.
again, I mean, you want to do it for the benefit of one taxpayer.
No, I want to do it for the benefit of the taxpayer, which is everybody that owns property in the town.
Let's think
But,
of the
but those are the same
benefit
taxpayers that voted on the bylaws.
I agree.
benefit of the resident, not the taxpayer.
No, the resident, that's right.
Residents, right.
A lot of times, we don't look at the absolute ramifications of every bylaw we pass, because they don't bring into play every scenario.
Right, but the place we looked at today on Alexandra Lane was almost a carbon copy of what we saw on Plymouth Street. It was a 16 by 32 rectangular pool that was within most likely 65 feet
of a wetland in her backyard. So
And what's the outcome with her?
she was going to talk to her, nothing yet. She was going to talk to her pool installer to see if he could recommend a
Moving it?
surveyor
And a wetland scientist.
and a wetland scientist.
She's definitely looking at August. She might be lucky if she better buy a pool heater.
But that,
Should be using that for an ice skating rink by the time she gets
But
there.
hers was in ground, right?
no,
Oh, it was above ground?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, it was.
but she had digging. They
Right.
were going to dig something.
Well, they gotta level it up and they gotta bring sand in, so it's
Yeah.
not just slap up a pool. When these kinds of pools still require a lot of work. So that's all I'm saying. For the benefit of the resident, Jim is right, and to follow the bylaws as expeditiously as we possibly can in these cases, because this, unlike a shed, is really kind of time sensitive because it's a summertime thing. I know you hate that, but it's the truth.
I never read that summer was different rules.
It's not different rules. It's trying to be a little more
They should
accommodating.
have come to us in April. That's the problem.
Well, that's right. It's really trying to be a little more accommodating to the
Yes.
resident, that's all.
Yeah,
I would love to be that way, but it opens floodgates.
Well, it could open floodgates, and
And
I don't want to set the precedent, and I'm the first one that beats that drum, so.
Right, so anyway,
We had an after-the-fact pool inspection okay, I remember on Meadow Street.
Oh, don't start the after-the-fact
Oh,
stuff.
after
Savory
the fact,
loses
yeah,
mind.
yeah, right. Hey, the guy,
unless it's a barbecue included.
he put his pool on top of his septic system.
Put his pool where?
On
Top of the septic.
system. Right, it's a,
And that's usually where the grass grows the best.
yeah, I don't know, it's the fourth or fifth house on Meadow Street.
Yeah, I
Wow.
remember that.
All right,
Okay, so
so-
what do we decide? Meeting the 25th? I'll tell him, I'll put the ad in. He can get the
Don't we
abutters
really do
list.
that in case the abutters have a problem with it? I mean, the end result of the order of conditions ends up being the same, am I wrong?
We just, as we get, tell them the 25th, it's 25th.
I think it all depends on what the plan shows.
I mean, I know all the abutters, they're gonna be fine with it.
But, I mean, if he files a notice of intent, he has to notify the abutters.
That's what I mean. I
That's
really
in the
think that
regs.
that would be the
Right.
case.
Right, so what's
But-
he saying?
but-
What are you saying about abutters? If he files a notice of intent, he has to notify abutters.
Yeah, but I don't think the abutters
Oh,
are
no,
gonna
they-
have,
I'm
a
sure they
problem
won't.
with any of that.
This-
So
Sure
I'm
they
wondering
won't.
if at
This
the
doesn't cut it.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. So if
It's all right.
if he came back with a plan that defined everything to make us happy and followed the bylaws, without going through the NOI, we could still issue an order of conditions. We could still require him to do all kinds of
You
stuff.
can't issue
No?
order of conditions without a notice of intent.
All right, then let him file a notice of intent.
Yeah.
We have to. In
Okay.
my opinion, we have to.
Yeah,
because
unless-
we have to
Did
make
all I
every-
could do.
We have to have
Used all my
everyone else.
influence. This is as far
Yeah.
as I got.
Because like I say, you could issue a positive determination, put conditions, but then I don't know if you could do a variance under a request. I think that might be kind of weird.
You know,
I don't think it would work.
and
I'm in just the right seat for the entertainment.
it's, I mean, I just,
So, okay, so I'll call him and tell him, and then
Yeah,
I'll just
call him,
tell
get
him
a
to go get
copy
an
of the
abutters
thing.
list.
yeah,
And he can do that. I can help him fill out the forms. And
Yeah.
the forms aren't a big thing to fill out at all.
okay,
And then he's got to get us the plan anyhow.
yep,
He's pretty flexible, he's an intelligent person.
yeah,
Oh, Peter, yeah.
yeah, but I just
Yes.
got to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No, I'm done.
Okay, so
Motion to adjourn?
I'm welcome.
I
You
will,
got something else, Mr. Chairman?
I will second that.
Okay.
So the next meeting's the 25th
Yes,
for that.
It's been
And
moved.
then
Go
we
ahead.
get any other filings? Huh? So our third Wednesday thing's off, but that's all right.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any prior opposition?
Are you here, Mary?
Passed.